Can we finally turn this van into the tiny home of our dreams? 6 months ago, we bought an empty cargo van with the plan to live in it full time starting on Halloween when the lease in our apartment was up. We spent months planning the build, cutting holes, woodworking, installing systems, moving 99% of our worldly possessions into a storage unit, but it wasn't enough. When October 31st rolled around, the van wasn't finished. Now, we didn't completely drop the ball. We knew that no matter what, our lease was over and we were moving into this van. So our priority was getting this thing livable. We had running hot water, a stove, electricity, a 3D printer, places to put everything, including our animals, but none of the cabinets were finished. We had no heat and obviously no walls. We lived in the van for 37 days while we drove 4,684 miles from Toronto, Canada to here, Joshua Tree, California. And we are here in the desert to finally finish this van and turn it into the tiny home of our dreams. First things first, we need to take everything out and strip this thing bare. Let's do it. I hope that was caught on camera. All right, end of day one, and the van is looking kind of like it did 6 weeks ago, which is a little scary, but we accomplished our goal. We cleared out everything that we have to paint and finish, so tomorrow we should be able to hit it with gusto. But for now, obviously this place is a mess, so we gotta clean up, eat some dinner, and we'll see you tomorrow. Ugh. We got the van somewhat livable last night to the point where we can sleep in here and we got all our clothes and food inside, but it is straight chaos in here right now. I am really excited to get this place feeling like a home again. Let's start sanding. All right, end of day two came surprisingly quick because even though we're in the desert, the sun still sets at like 4:15. It's kind of hard to tell, but it is getting dark quick. But after pretty much a full day of sanding, we're kind of ready to start finishing and painting tomorrow. We are well into day three. We spent the morning arranging all of the pieces in this big circle and wiping off all the dust, so we are ready to finish. We're actually doing two different finishes, a paint and a clear coat. For the clear coat, we're using Total Boat Halcyon Clear. This is a rugged water-based varnish that we've used across the entire van. It's super easy to apply, and for the first time, we are spraying this on. Because we have so much surface area, spraying this is gonna save a ton of time. I've never used an HVLP sprayer before, so we spent a fair amount of time testing it. We had good success thinning the Halcyon, 650 milliliters of Halcyon to 150 milliliters of water, and then spraying at the max pressure setting. It seemed to have worked really well, so I'm feeling confident. And the birds are calling to me. Let's start finishing. Day three drawing to a close, once again finishing just as the sun is setting. It's only like 3:50, but it's already going over the mountains. But we were just able to get 3 coats of Halcyon on, 2 gloss, 1 satin.
I think it went great. It was a bit of a slow start, but once we figured it out, it was smooth sailing.
We had a great system. Just bing, bang, boom, handing things back and forth.
Yeah.
Abby's not very happy though. She's exploring Maker Ranch. Tomorrow, paint.
Woo!
Day 4 is well underway. We checked the finish this morning and it was pretty smooth, but we decided to give the high touch surfaces a quick sanding with 220 grit and then do an additional coat with the Halcyon satin. That's 4 coats total and it only took about an extra 45 minutes, but I think we're gonna be really happy that we did that in the long run. We spent the rest of the morning adjusting our masking for painting, and since we have a relatively small amount of painting to do, we're actually just gonna roll it on. Spraying on is great if you have a large surface area, but it takes a lot of prep. We're only really painting our drawer fronts and exposed sides of the cabinets. We're going to do a coat of primer and 2 coats of paint in, what's the color, Eden? Farmhouse Fresh?
Fresh Meadow?
Fresh Meadow, Farmhouse Sage, Meadow Fresh.
Green, hippie, yay, love.
It's like a light sage green. I think it's gonna look really good. Let's get to it. Woo! All right, finally finished before the sun's going down. It's only 2:30 and we got 3 coats of paint on. As you can probably hear, we were kind of fighting the wind near the end, blowing dust into our freshly painted surfaces. So,
it's very rude.
So tomorrow, putting the van back together.
Yay!
Day 5 is here and I am super excited because it is time to move back into the van. We've been living in chaos for the past 4 days and I don't really do well with it. I'm excited to get our home back together. We started the day by untaping the edges of the cabinet fronts so we have that sharp definition between the painted fronts and the Baltic birch edges. It looks so good, but before we get them back into the van, we have to take everything out again. It's a beautiful day. Let's get to it. Today was the first day since we've been here that we actually worked into the night. It was just so satisfying getting everything back into the van. We couldn't stop, and we especially wanted to get our systems running and check it out. We got propane, we're cooking again, or Eden's cooking. We got some running water, so we no longer have to use Ben and Jesse's kitchen, although it was much appreciated. And check out this green, it looks so good. I know it still looks very unfinished in here because we still need to put up our walls. That's the project tomorrow, but at 8 p.m. we're finally done for the day. See you in the morning. Day 6 is off to a rip-roaring start. Eden primed our wall panels. That's just some thin 1/8 inch plywood. And while she was working on that, I reinstalled all of the cabinet fronts. It looks so good. I am so pumped with the green, and it's gonna look even better against our white walls. Now, while Eden was priming, I also ran some wiring for our under cabinet lights, since once we put up the wall panels, we won't be able to run wiring anymore. Now, if we were smart, we would have put all of our wall panels in before we installed the cabinets, so we could just put in big rectangles. But our timeline didn't quite work out that way. We had to install our cabinets and live in this van before we could even think about the walls. It was just getting too cold in Ontario when we were at that part of the build, and we had to be out of our apartment on October 31st. So unfortunately, we have to cut all of the wall panels to the specific gaps where they will fit. It's probably gonna take a lot longer than it would otherwise, but you learned on the first one. Let's do it, let's get some walls. Just as quickly as it came, day 6 is drawing to a close. You can see the sun setting over the mountains right there, and I'm happy with what we got done. I mean, we were only really able to get these 3 wall panels up, but this one here with the outlet cutouts, I didn't show on camera all the work that took us. That was a lot of back and forth. I've never done drywall before. Eden learned how to spackle today, and I'm really happy with it. I think we were both kind of hoping that we would get more done, but we're gonna hit it with a vigor tomorrow. And already you can see the white is looking good. Eden looks like she's about to go on a desert voyage.
I got cold.
So apparently it does rain in the desert, which put a bit of a damper on our plans this morning, but it's 10:20 a.m. and the sun's starting to come out. There are still some pretty scary clouds on the horizon, but all the more reason to work fast. I think we can finish the walls today. You feeling good, Eden?
What? Yes, that's what I was gonna say. That I thought you were gonna be like, that's not realistic. But yeah, I'm ready to finish the walls.
Despite it raining off and on all day, I feel like we were incredibly productive. We got 90% of the wall coverings on, and as the sun was going down, Eden even started putting the coverings over the pillars. No rain is forecasted tomorrow, so I think we're in really good shape to paint, get the final little details in, and we're so close to finishing this van. I can feel it. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the tank is clean.
The tank is clean.
Let's get these walls finished. After 8 days in Joshua Tree, we decided it was time to move on. The van still wasn't finished, but we figured we could add the final details on the road. We headed towards Los Angeles, where we added trim around the doors, cabinets, and windows. If you've been following this build from the beginning, you know these birch window frames were one of the first projects in the van, and they were a ton of work. So finally putting a bow on these felt so good. I love how the brass screws match the gold accents all throughout the van and kind of add to this feeling that you're in the cabin of a boat. Now, with our piecemeal wall installation and the weird edges of a van build, store-bought trim couldn't cover all the gaps. We needed something a bit more heavy-duty above the sink to cover the big gap between the wall and the ceiling, so we decided to build a plant shelf that does double duty of hiding that seam and bringing some life into the van. Ties in nicely with the green cabinets as well. That weird seam continues above the sliding door, so we built another shelf to hold small, compact objects like flip-flops and Abby's leash. It should be pretty clear at this point that our walls aren't perfect. 4 panels meet in a pretty ugly corner above the sink, but a funky, irregular mirror hides that seam perfectly and makes the van feel more homey. I also finished installing the under-cabinet lighting, which is probably one of my favorite features of our van. The pot lights in the ceiling are nice, but these strip lights are so cozy and are a great way to break the living space into zones. Having discrete lighting areas makes the van feel more like an apartment with multiple rooms. I also added a strip above my workstation, which is great if I want to work late at night or early in the morning while Eden's still asleep. And as crazy as it feels, the van is kind of done. After 6 months and hundreds of hours of work, this place is finally the home of our dreams. And it feels so good. I love how much light there is in here. The green and the white, it feels so cozy while being bright and clean. and comfortable. It really is, I think, everything we wanted. Now, done is a dangerous word. There's still a bunch of little projects that we want to do. We even started installing a diesel heater before we came here to Baja California, but we ran into a little problem with the installation, and then we realized we don't really need a heater while we're in Mexico. So we'll finish that while we're back north. We want to build a spice rack. We want to add some inserts onto the doors for extra storage. Lots of little storage solutions that we want to add. I don't know, Eden, I'm probably missing something. You have a list, right?
An espresso maker?
Oh, espresso machine. I want to make a 3D printed storage solution for our Starlink so it's not just rattling around the back of the van while we're driving. I'd love to add some external storage boxes to the back doors or maybe the roof so I can take more tools on the road. But I feel like at this point, it's just the little projects that you would have in a house. The bones of this place, the things that really make it feel like a finished home are done. And just being able to live in here after all that time we spent planning, it's kind of wild to see it come to fruition. But so good. If you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, you can gain exclusive access to the behind the scenes Instagram page and my private Discord community by supporting this channel on Patreon. I would like to give a special thank you to my top supporters on Patreon. That's right, there's multiple of them now. My mom, Kathy Kurt, and she is now joined by our second top supporter, Paige Arlt. Please, Paige, tell me if I'm mispronouncing your last name. It's A-R-L-T. So, yeah, just send me a message if I'm butchering that. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.